Hey there. So first, I'm going to thank you for taking a few minutes out of your busy day, your busy schedule, and joining me. And I really hope that it can make it worth your time and effort. You know, unlike so many other programs, this webinar is for beginners. This is for the person you're just getting your stuff started. You're going to find the basics presented in a way that you can implement them without being overwhelmed with the complexity of having a crazy complicated business structure. I just really want to help you simplify your creative startup. Right? So Einstein had noted at one point, I read, that a great person knows of his or her greatness long before anybody else does. Right? And so we need to have the confidence in our skills to be better leaders for our family and our communities and really the entire world. Who's this for? This is for the student, the designer, the entrepreneur, the artist, the creatives of this world. You're the kid who's coming out of school, or for me, I was 40-something coming out of school, and I needed to start something fresh and new. Or you're the designer who's been at a firm for a couple of years, or you've decided you want to start your own thing. Regardless, we're all entrepreneurs. If you're an artist and you've decided that you really want to go big and you want to start a business or any kind of creative, right? So this is for you. This is how to bootstrap your next business. I want you to think about becoming a business owner. If you want to have clients who are going to pay you a premium design fee, they're going to be great, they're going to love you, and they're going to pay you for what you're worth. There are clients who are going to trust your knowledge and expertise as talented and skilled designer and recommend you over and over again. If you want the confidence of presenting that proposal without any kind of hesitation and knowing that you have the business acumen behind you to back it up, this webinar is going to be for you. If you know that you want to serve your clients with the highest level of professionalism and efficiency, this webinar is for you. If you want to get rid of all the overwhelm of having to come up with this crazy complicated business plan, and you want to shortcut your knowledge base and have a mentor to help you avoid major pitfalls, this is for you. This webinar is for the designer who has no huge bank account to fund the marketing plan, your campaign, or enough money in the bank to even fund an assistant. This one is for all the little guys out there, right? We don't live in LA, we don't live in New York, we don't live in Chicago. We work with Joe and Jane Schmo. They just have a kitchen remodel. We're going to help them any way we can. They have a little extra money to spend on a designer. We are the designers of small town America. And you know what? We're used to bootstrapping everything from paying our mortgage to getting the kids' science projects put together. But we always get it done because we're creative. We know how to do this. I can tell you that not having a mentor in the beginning adds years to your level of achievement. It takes a minimum of 2 years to get a business off the ground. And from my experience alone, it took 5 years to really make a good living. And hiring a coach absolutely drove it forward so much faster on my second try. The time was cut in half, even a quarter on some levels, and it quadrupled the income with a little more elbow grease. But without a system to start from, and really a realistic set of goals, you're throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. Trial and error can take a few years or even sink the entire ship. I look at it in terms of the bottom line, right? After a while, that's what it really comes down to. If I can get to 60 grand gross in 2 years and it only cost me a little extra time and just a few $1,000s in the beginning, I am way ahead of the game based on my first experience of it taking 5 years to get to 5 digits. You can spend tons of time figuring out what to do and when, and the worst is the feeling of, oh my God, is it even going to work, right? So having a mentor or having a system is going to help you with what applications help you through the design process, how to qualify clients, what are you going to spend on marketing, and where are you going to put that money, and what avenue is going to bring you the most money the fastest, right? And then what's the best pricing structure? How are you, and then for me, it was like the biggest question, how am I going to get this all done while more than likely you're still working another job? I understand completely. I've been there and done that. What I did this time with the design business, this is my third business that I've started, is that I hired help. I know what it's like to be working and going to school and trying to start a new chapter. Not one of the businesses I have started has given me, I've not gotten any money to start with, which meant working full-time while working part-time on the new thing. I've overlapped 2 businesses with school. I've run retail and wholesale. And our first business was pretty much small manufacturing, and I kept it all going. I've been a professional artist and a designer for 20 years, and I've always struggled with people telling me that you're a creative, you're an artist, you're never going to make any money at that. That's not a real career. And I got to tell you, the sweetest revenge is success. I have surpassed everyone's expectations of what I could earn, what I could do, and how I could grow a business. And my biggest thing is helping you along the way and doing it in a positive manner. How did I get started? Honestly, my first business, I was a potter. In 1998, I started Mosquito Bud Pottery. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. But what I did have was a model. I had a mentor. It was my boss, but he was great. He didn't care. He didn't see me as competition. That was my first lesson. Competition is great. I wasn't making a ton of money. I was in my 20s. I didn't care. There was no internet really. It was just getting started. So we had like email and that was it. There's no websites like today. So no Facebook. And I did everything by hand at low or no cost. Straight up bootstrapping it. Living in a little studio apartment by the beach. And I started in a garage. I was overwhelmed. Everything was inconsistent. I was broke by most standards. I was really happy, but I was super broke. I started doing art shows around the country and probably ended up doing about 48 of them a year. And that's how I met my husband. We met on the road. We started a family a few years in, and we decided that we needed to get off the road. And so we started wholesaling and built that business up. We started selling to over 150 galleries and shops around the country, and then we opened a little gallery in town. And honestly, I took the mentoring piece. I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, but I was watching what everybody else did, and as I traveled through the country, and I watched what other artists did to sell. The people that were selling hand over fist, I went to them and I said, so how are you getting all these people in your booth? Well, do you have a website? Are you selling off of that too? And what I realized is I was copying what they were doing, but what I was really doing was looking at them for mentorship, and I modeled what they were doing, right? So we went into wholesale, we're selling all over the place, and we decided to open up a gallery, and so we had everything. We had the wholesale, we had a little retail, we had a gallery going, and you just find mentors along the way. I always took the attitude that I wasn't just an artist, I was an entrepreneur. I was a business owner. I took myself seriously, right? So in the middle of this, I found tile. As a functional pottery, doing wholesale, there was a lot of doing work, the same pots over and over again. So it was getting boring. So I found tile and started doing some sculptural work, and I loved it. It was smaller. I could charge as much or more, and it was a new outlet to be creative. It was a blast. This time, though, I hired a consultant to help me set things up and break into the wholesale end of things. She helped me structure the production, the presentation, pricing, and distribution of the tile. I was able in a year and a half to get into several excellent high-end tile boutiques. And this was all during the recession, no less, all while running the pottery. And I love the tile. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I could build the tile, why can't I build the whole kitchen? So I started taking classes at the local community college in interior design. So I was running the pottery, had the gallery, making tile, and starting school, all with babies, just so we know how busy I like to be. Then the recession hit, major setback. We closed the gallery, we downsized the pottery and the tile, and we structured everything. And totally, we kept a couple of employees, we kept the same profit margin, we worked smarter, not harder. That was the goal. Built it back up for a couple of years, and then I sold both businesses to other families who are doing wonderfully with them. And they're growing them, and I'm so happy to have created a legacy in the creative industries. What a gift, I have to tell you. So, after school and working for a commercial firm, I knew that I needed to work for myself and get rid of the financial ceiling that was keeping me down. I had to come up financially with half of our income. I only worked for somebody else for about a year before going back to working for myself. But I took the same attitude that I had with the pottery and the tile. I was super professional right out of the gate. I educated everyone I ran into about what I did and how I did it, and because I was starting from scratch all over again, and I knew how this worked, right? I modeled everyone I could look up online to see how they were doing it. It took some trial and error, and I think as our lives change, so is our business model is going to change. So nothing has to be permanent. This time, I jumped straight in once again with having a coach and having consultants. After what I learned with the tile business and how quickly that grew, there was no way I was doing it any other way. I hired a consultant to help me set up the tile business, and it was seriously shaved off years from development of my business. So with a little guidance, quite honestly, I want to help you. I want to help you get past the struggle and the overwhelm faster than the flash. Yo, speed, ball 58. I want to get you to model what I did and get you rolling super fast and getting clients who love working with you and who are willing to pay you what you know you're worth. All you're going to need is a little elbow grease. This process doesn't happen overnight. This is part of the mindset changes you need to make. I can give you everything you need here to grow a successful career in the creative fields. I don't care if you're a designer or an artist or just a creative entrepreneur. I can't make you do the actual actions. You have to do that. You have to be the one to see this through. But I can give you what it takes to get things. Being a creative, you have to have the confidence. You need the knowledge and the systems in place to get the most qualified clients that are willing to pay those premium fees for your professional services and your expertise. I can help you get there faster. You need to have a system. You don't need to overthink it. We can have this chunked down for you, and you go for the shortcut. It makes it so much easier this way. It makes so much sense. It's about having just small steps that aren't overwhelming. And if I can do it with 2 little kids, an over-demanding husband, and a busy life that we have, anybody can do it. And I'm no genius. But I am a hard worker, and I value my family first. So just know that I do put in the extra time, but I also stop sometimes and I spend the time with my family. So you're going to evaluate what you feel like is an existing model. We're going to look at marketing opportunities. We're going to look at your product line, which is you and different streams of income. We're going to look at opportunity layers to market. And you need to think about your strategy to grow. Right, so let's jump in. Your first thing you need to think about is what it takes to create great design, right? And what you learned in school, that there are layers of elements and principles, the same goes for your success. There's layers of principles and actions to get there faster. And these layers they start with your mindset. And you need to have a set of goals, and then you need to have a set of actions that you're going to take every day. Albeit we're going to start small, absolutely, to make it easy for you. But if you create those habits, you will rock and roll with them. You will start to create a momentum that won't stop. The action set has to do with the marketing actions to take, and honestly, they're based on a zero budget because that's where I come from, right? We got small town, ain't got no money, nobody wants to pay. At least that's what it feels like at first. But then you will find the momentum, you'll find the grace, you'll find the confidence, and people will find you. You need to gain control of who you are in your mind, and this can be the biggest battle yet. You have to get your mind to a place that you can take the criticism, the neglect, the disappointment, the rejection, and you're going to handle it with grace and ease, like water off a duck's back. It's going to roll. We can get there with what we already own, the language of design. It's what you've learned with your degree or your experiences as being a creative. Last year I wrote a book, Creatively Succeed, and that's what the whole thing is about. Working in the arts and creative industries for so long, I started to realize that the language that I used in my personal development practice and the process for success and my creative endeavors, it's the same language. I've linked the principles of design to the principles of success in design in the creative fields. It just makes it easier for us as creatives to understand how to actually make it all happen with the language that we already use every day. We understand as designers and creatives that to create great design, you have to create layers with the elements to really elevate that design or your space or your piece of artwork. And the same goes for success, right? You know, as an artist, I always knew that I liked the way certain things looked. And I knew when I didn't. And I could tell if things were fighting each other in a space, but I didn't really understand why, because I wasn't educated in design originally. I was always an aesthetic, but I didn't know what was going on. My first degree is in English and criticism and a minor in women's studies. So, you know, I got to bartend a lot. But going back to school for design, this is what education and design opened up for me. It was a better way for me to more clearly articulate the levels of what works and why, and how to achieve a better design and fix what's wrong. Because that's our job as designers, is really to come in as problem solvers. Principles, no matter what form or level, they're what form the foundation for great architecture, art, textiles, furnishings, and for success, right? But if you go back and you think about the last time you walked through a gallery or a museum, you could see what works, and you know how do you learn how to judge those things that work? The theory of design, it implies that really fine interior design and art incorporate good scale, proportion, harmony, all the elements, right, through a sensitive balance of variety and unity. The philosophy is that those layers and elements, you need those to achieve fine design and fine art. The same goes for success. Mindset. First, you have to learn how to define success in your life. And just like we have for fine art and fine design. And this comes with a level of discernment for success. And what I mean by that is you kind of have to practice using the principles and elements, whether it's for design or for success, to gain a level of discernment. You need to have a set of principles to run your life by, and they become the map that you travel by through life, right? To get to a place in your mindset that's strong, you have to be willing to design with a level of success We use those principles to articulate what we want and how to get it in our life. That's what having that system of principles is. To implement the principles of success in design, of course, it always makes it easier if you have a system in place. And they're just super effective because they free up your mind from the clutter of trying to figure out what to do next. When you don't have to constantly come up with a plan or figure out how to do a thing or get to a point, you already have a system in place to follow your plan to achieve your goals. Your mind can be at ease. This freedom allows you to be more creative, more productive, and therefore your business is more lucrative. Systems act as our fail-safe. When you're in a situation and you need something done, you just look to your system. And you're going to know exactly what to do and how to get it done. It keeps you organized, frees up your time, it guides you. It's the best way to live your life. Having that system in place to follow and create simple daily practices to maintain persistence and deal with your old paradigms and blueprints of how we were raised wipes them free much faster because you can focus on the end result. It allows you, having that system allows you to be more inspired versus motivated, right? You know, to motivate yourself every day, it can be such a chore. You're going to lose energy to accomplish the things you have to get done just to survive. But if you live an inspired life, that energy is bottomless. I can tell you that I'm so inspired to help you be an amazing creative and a designer and an entrepreneur that I've been able to get up at 4:30 in the morning to write this, and I stay up until 10 o'clock at night to work on the slides. And it's how I wrote my first book. I can even tell you how hard it was to finish. It took me 2 years of sneaking up early before the family and a little bit of cash, but I learned a ton of new skills on self-publishing, getting on Kindle, working with online virtual assistants. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I worked with people from Bangladesh to Maine to get everything done. It was crazy. I could do all of this because I worked from a place of joy versus pleasure. Like, pleasure is short-lived. Pleasure is chocolate and champagne. Joy is the love I have for my husband and my children. Joy is me paddleboarding on a Sunday morning and having the dolphin pop up next to me. Pleasure is a new pair of high heels, but you can't knock a really nice pair of Jimmy Choos, right? Anyway, so the idea is that we have a system of success that leads us to a level of excellence and discernment. And if you understand this, having a system to get to that level of excellence and work, you need to get a grasp on it in your life. With the system, you have a way to measure and compare whether or not the experience fits into your goal set. And we're going to work on our goals later. But when you have a system in place, it addresses, you want to go through all the facets of your life, and you have to have goals that are trying to achieve, or once you have those goals that you're trying to achieve, and you're working with things through a system, you're going to find a synergy of success that happens on its own. Your level of commitment to a project or a client becomes that much easier to maintain. You can work from a place of integrity, and you're going to have the attitude of service for your clients and your community. So the first place that we need to start, right? So you get the idea of having a system. Now you need to understand mindset. The mindset layer has to do with our paradigms. And I want to address what it means to have a paradigm that just doesn't serve us anymore, right? It's an old way of thinking, and it's usually how our family thinks, right? It's what we've been brought up to believe and the ways we're supposed to work. The question is that I want you to consider, are your paradigms, the way you've been brought up and how to think, are they serving you? Are they giving you what you feel like you deserve out of life? Our paradigms are a mental map. It sets our expectations in life. It's about what we feel like we should be making for money. It's about who we feel like we deserve to be married to. It's who we feel like our children should grow up to be and who our friends are. We just simply assume that that thing's going to work a certain way. And what I want you to get to is, how about questioning those assumptions? That's what I want to challenge you to do. You change your assumptions about where you are, who you're with, who you're hanging out with, and where you want to end up. If anything were possible, what would you do? What paradigm would you change? You start this in a small way, right? Start to recognize a habit that you have that maybe goes against what you're trying to accomplish in your life or your career. This could be something like dealing with a goal. For me, writing my first book, I had to try and buy time back out of my life. And what I realized, that I had so many distractions. And one of the biggest distractions was my phone. It's like my mini computer that I carry around with me. And I would answer every call, every text. I was connected constantly. I was posting, trying to create content. I answered every phone call. I mean, any question that anybody had, I was there immediately. What I realized was that I was working from 4 in the morning until midnight answering these questions. It ate up all of my time. So, what I felt, I had to look at what my paradigm was. What was feeding that? I thought that I had to be there for my clients constantly. That I had to be available for them to appreciate me. That is just not true. I am available from 9 to 5, and I'll answer texts if I'm free, but I had to change that. I talked to my clients about it, and I set boundaries, and my clients totally understood, and they respected it, because really, we're all supposed to just be working a 40-hour week. They totally understood. I not only created more time to work on my book, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize how much time I was wasting on the phone, but now I have a ton of time to spend with my family. Major bonus, and really that should be number 1 on my list, not number 2. So, you just have to think about what is worth it to you and what's not. To how to speak to the principles in design and turn those into the principles of our life. I want to talk to you about the principle of scale and proportion. And you need to look at how these work out in relationships in your life, how you perceive those things, principle and scale, and how to work flexibility into it. I go into Creatively Succeed by Design School, and I work through a lot of this. And the questions that I ask you are, what's the proportion or scale of the aspects of your life and career that you want to change? What's the proportion of time you spend with family versus building strong bonds and healthy relationships? I really believe that there's ebbs and flows through life, that we perceive one time is more important than another time, of course, because it's family and it's life and things move, like the tides. And I want you to understand that you can have that flexibility to change whenever you want to balance the scale of your life based on the proportions of where you're spending your time. Sometimes you're going to be more focused on one area than another. And I want you to forgive yourself for moving that proportion to another level of balance. Don't worry about it. Is a level of excellence. And with the right mindset and a changed paradigm or ways of thinking, you can change the scale and proportion of anything in your life to create that culture of excellence. I leave it up to you, though. You have to define what excellence is to you. Is it the money in your bank account? Or is it how much time you spend volunteering or showing a level of kindness or respect to others? And my biggest goal with this project is that it can be both. I want you to earn more money so that you can share it with your community. 100%. Excellence is the quality of being outstanding or extremely good. And I want you to be outstanding at living your life, not just your career. The first baby step that we have to take in creating a mindset of prosperity is to make a shift in your thinking and notice the things in your life that already exist and become more grateful for them. So here's a list, right? These are the facets of your life that you need to roll through. And I want you to make a list, just bang it out. What you're grateful for in each facet of your life. Relationships, family, career, money, wealth, professional, spiritual development, health and wellness, recreation, personal environment, you name it. You need to, I don't care if you hate your job, you need to find one little thing that you are grateful for. It doesn't matter. Even if you're getting paid minimum wage, but you like seeing Sally there because she makes you laugh, just say, I'm so glad I get to be with Sally today. She just puts a smile on my face. So go through all these facets of your life. You need to take out a pen and paper right now and write these down, please, so that you have this. You're going to need this list again. I want to tell you a little story about gratitude. Saying and doing are two different things. I want to share with you a little story about my son. He was bugging me for a bearded lizard of all things. Let's see, let's get the picture up here. Nasty little thing. Apparently, they're the cheapest little pet that everybody's getting their kids, and I just couldn't agree to get one. He told me he promised me that he would take care of it. He'd clean its cage, he'd feed it, he'd pet it, he'd scrub it, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, the whole shebang. Mind you, we already had 2 dogs and a cat, all of whom I take care of every day. I walk the dogs, or we're down to 1 now, but feed them, walk them, wash them, whatever, take them to the vet. And also, on top of that, we've also had a guinea pig, a snake we think is still living in the house somewhere, a couple of other cats, and quite honestly, I'm just done burying pets, personally. It's ridiculous. The stance that I took with him was that of gratitude. If he could show me how much he appreciated the pets that we already had, I'd think about it. And this goes for friends, for partners, for children, everybody. You can't just say that you're grateful. You have to show it, or it really doesn't matter. I tell people all the time, I don't judge people on what they say. I judge them on what they do. If you don't care for a pet or a person, for that matter, it doesn't matter how much you say you love them. They know otherwise, and they're going to show it back. I told my son that he needed to feed the dogs and the cat and take them for walks every day, wash them every week, offer him treats, play ball, and then I'd get him the bearded dragon if he could show me that he could do that for a while, at least a couple of weeks. He was 11, and it didn't really happen. It lasted about 2 days, but that's what we do as parents. We take care of everything and look for the opportunity to teach. And this was a teaching moment. This was a teaching moment about gratitude. And I take the attitude that I'm not raising children, I'm raising adults. And I want them to be grateful. So now, take that list you wrote down, and every day for the next 30 days, because I hear it takes 21 days to create a habit. I want this habit to be hammered in, so you're going for 30. Write down those facets of your life and what you're grateful for in each facet. It's going to take about 15 or 20 minutes, if not more. Make the time. Just like I wouldn't give my son what he wished for without actually taking action to take care of what he was grateful for, I believe that neither will our higher power, God, will not make adjustments for us to receive what we want in our lives until we not only recognize what we already have is wonderful, but then the challenge is to take action and care for what we're grateful for. Stop complaining and do something nice. So just like when you were in school, you went deep with your design skills and your technical knowledge, uh, this was how you learned to discern better design as well as choose the best materials for the best application. You kind of had to go backwards to go forwards. And I personally believe for our goals that we were handed a set of total misinformation. You know, this is where the disconnect comes in, and I find these days with education and real life experience. You know, we always have been told to have goals, right? But nobody ever teaches us how to create realistic goals. And that implies that we almost need to downgrade our goals because they need to be realistic, right? What a load of crap. This is another reason that I created this webinar, and I'm doing it for free. I just really want to get you on the right track, because if we're all super successful, we can do more in the world, no matter who or what we do. Why do we even need a set of goals? It's about getting where you want to be, and it takes work. So you need to take notes. You need to set goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based, okay? You want to get things done. You want to make things happen. We're going to reverse engineer your goal set to create a plan. And I want this to be fun. I mean, it was for me. I had a blast. And this is something I do at least a couple times a year, because as your life changes, your goals change too. You can't it won't work. Take out your list of the facets of your life, because you're going to write your goals for each realm of your life, okay? If you don't write it down, you're not going to understand it. This is kind of our focus, all of us Americans, right, is financial. We're going to talk about money. I think this is where we were handed the first load of crap. To just put a number on a thing, it doesn't matter. It almost never enough, because simply we all come from this poverty mindset. We have to kill ourselves for minimum wage, and it's just not true. I want you to make a list of everything you want in your life. And for this piece, yeah, it's just going to be stuff. I'm not going to be all high and mighty about relationships and love and blah, blah, blah. We want some money. We want to be able to do what we love, but we want to make some money. So with this list of what you want in your life, I want you to research how much it actually costs to buy these things. These are real numbers. You can go on the internet, you can see how much a car costs, you can see what the house in the nice neighborhood costs. Go on Zillow. It's going to show you what your monthly payment's going to be, right? If you want the car, you need to go test drive it. Go to the dealership. Find out what you're actually going to need to make this thing happen. And what the hell? You might even find it's not even the car for you. I thought I wanted a Jeep for years. I dreamed of owning a Jeep. So I started on working real goal-setting tactics, and I went for a drive-in one. Freaking hated it. The kid said the backseat was super uncomfortable. It got terrible gas mileage. What was the point of that? No real get up and go, and it hummed. It was buzzy, hummed, and wobbly. It was terrible. There you go. Not the car for me. I ended up with a Jetta Sport Wagon, and I love it. I can put the surfboards on top without getting on a ladder. I can shove the cooler and the chairs in the back in half a second. I absolutely adore this car. Had I not gone out and done the real research on it, I would have wasted thousands of dollars buying a car I didn't like, and all the time that it took to earn that money. Take the time to find out if what you think you want is what you really want. My next goal car is a Mercedes, and the garage to put it in. I have it in my future budget. Really, it's what you need to create to get that workable budget, to know what you need to earn. Otherwise, if you don't have those real numbers down on paper, what's the point? You're just wandering. You're like, oh yeah, I think I want to make this much money, but the truth is, who cares? Tell you what, Mercedes, sweet ride, here I come. Once you have the list, then write down everything in a positive manner or in a statement form. One of my favorites was Bob Proctor from The Secret. That's my favorite one that I can remember. So you start each sentence with, quote, I am so joyful and grateful now that I, ... and you fill in the blank. That is the easiest way to start. You can use whatever language works best for you, but you have to say it as a statement and write it over and over. And this is part of your 30-day challenge. Write your goal set in a positive statement every morning for 30 days. Do you want to travel more? Where do you want to travel? Do you want to learn a new sport or a talent? Something like that. Mine was golf and guitar. I want to learn how to work online more so I can work remotely and travel more. When I talk about personal development, I mean your spiritual self, your developed self. You want to go back to school? Do you want to attend a seminar? What do you need to do for yourself to be a better human being? When I talk about service, I talk about coming up with ways that you can give back to your community, your church, your school, your kids' school, whatever. If you can't give time, give money. If you can't give money, give time. This is just going to feed your soul, and there's absolutely no worth that can be set on this experience. When you finish this exercise, you're going to have a real grasp of what you want in your life, and then now we can start moving into the action set. We're going to start making. So you have an idea of what it's going to take to get your mind right, ditch the paradigms, and you have some real goals. Now let's get some cash rolling through your bank account. The first thing you have to do is tell people who you are, what you're doing. You gotta tell them why you're so special. The easiest way to do this is on your website, on Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever you're comfortable with. The biggest lesson that I learned about marketing was when we opened up the gallery. All of a sudden, people came out of the woodwork and they wanted to sell us print ads. They promised us huge instant results, right? Well, we were desperate because we just opened up. We just dropped 50 grand on inventory. We were broke. You know, what I did not have then was a mission statement. This is the one-liner that you need to have to guide your focus on what you're trying to achieve. I didn't have it, so I bit. I totally bit. Then we tried different avenues, and the best ones, the ones that created repeat buyers, were the things we tried that benefited our customers and our clients. It was that marketing is more about creating trust and relationships with your community, in person and online. And it's more important than making that first sale with those silly print ads. Honestly, what a waste of time and money. So what it means, creating those relationships, it means going online and creating a presence through images, advice, explanations of a process, and in person, getting out there to your community and doing a little pro bono work, hand out some gift certificates, whatever. Online, you're going to post images of your work, and if you don't have any, post a vignette of your house that you really like. Or you post images of others' work, you give them credit, of course, but you're going to critique it, or you're going to choose a product out of that, or you can spotlight different products. So there's ways of posting to many platforms with all of this information with one click, and I kind of go through that in design school. But in the beginning, when I only had a little bit of work coming in, I went to my little office in an artist co-op that I rented, and I made myself create those posts that offered interest, and I taught, and that's how I built my audience up, and they started to trust me. And again, I kind of deep dive into this more in the class, but really, if you have a smartphone, you can just get started by posting yourself out shopping at Home Goods or posting products you love and recommending them. Or you can take a day trip to some showrooms, the design showrooms and fabric and stuff, and take tons of pictures there and then just feed them out over the next few months. The point I'm trying to make is the best marketing strategy is to care about your clients and to show that by offering them some things. And I kind of hope you're already telling everybody that what you're doing. And what you need to do is think of the world like an onion with layers. And you want to start with the people you know, right? You ask them if you can send a little newsletter. You ask them for their email. And there's lots of ways to do this. I get more in depth in class, but you want to engage your audience, and hopefully you're going to educate them well enough, and they're going to become your clients, or they're going to recommend you to their friends to be clients. So then you peel away another layer, and you see who you can impact next. And this is the piece of just taking it one step at a time. Just think of that onion with those thin layers. Take one layer at a time. My biggest goal in this project is to get more people thinking of what they can do and stay in service. And one of the ways you can serve is serving your family and friends and then your community, and they become your clients. I get that this is hard because we're human beings and we're hungry, and our society and marketing has created beasts in us that think we're entitled to others giving everything to us for free. But at the same time, I want you to quell the poverty mindset in yourself. And I want you to understand, you deserve nothing. You deserve nothing without serving first. You need to understand that you have to offer value before asking for anything in return. So this image, this is about offering value before asking for anything. Cause marketing. This image tells a greater story of the importance of cause marketing. We learned how to do this with the gallery. The way we used cause marketing it's super simple. You find a group or a cause that resonates with you, and you see how you can partner with them. I go into the benefits of partnering in school as well. It was absolutely my biggest key to the greatest success, the fastest. Exactly what we did was we would reach out to a group, and with the gallery, it was the middle school band. We asked them to play at our gallery opening, an event that I created, which is monthly, and we would offer 10% of our sales from the night back to the band to help them raise money. What we asked for in return was that we market together, that we asked them to invite their family and their friends, and we were able to grow our list of followers. We raised an extra 300 and some bucks for them that night and created a great event to the point that even today I walk around and people say, "Oh yeah, you had that little gallery. Oh, thanks so much for having our son. He played in the band. They had a great time. We really appreciated that. My aunt was in town and we went to see him." They're still asking about this little event. Event marketing is another tool we used, and I go deep into that as well. The idea is that there's a thing now called social activism. It's a movement. It's an undercurrent, and it's a new way of thinking. As a business, if you don't incorporate into your business in some way that you are giving back to a larger cause, you will start to lose credibility. You've got to start finding ways. Now, in the interior design, what we found, we're a surfing family, right? My husband doesn't actually participate in my business, but he does have a vested interest in what I spend the money on, right? So it helps that he loves this too. Because we're a surfing family and we live in a small beach town, it just so happens to host this amazing festival. And this is where I chose to give back. We're sponsors. We've gone to every single event they've had. I even take my kids when my husband's is on duty. He's a fireman. And this event feeds my soul. It inspires my children. And it's everything we love. Film, art, and surfing all in one place. And that's the piece I want you to understand. Find something that you can give to that you love and support, because 90% of customers are going to choose that brand that's socially responsible, even if you're all just the same. So choose your cause and to partner with them. Your church, your kid's school, you name it. The best thing to do is find an event, offer a gift certificate to your services. This is free. They usually don't even use it half the time, right? So, you're kind of giving something away, and really, it doesn't cost you a dime. But you're getting in front of people who are getting to see your name, and they're also caring about the same cause. And you get to attend that event at the same time. So look at it like a networking tool as well, because now you already share something. You all have something in common. We support artists in our community because we were artists, and we do the same thing. We offer gift certificates or pro bono work just to keep our name in the mix. I've also given artwork away to our church, and that means every week that people walk by and they comment on who gave this, and that was so nice. And you just really need to reach out and give. There's so many ways to start getting work out, getting the word out about your business. It's unbelievable. So now here's your challenge. Are you really committed to getting your new business going? Are you ready to go through the ups and downs and put in some elbow grease? Here's another reality check. It takes time to adjust our thinking to this. Yeah, your bootstrapping your business means putting in extra time. I'm writing this on a Sunday afternoon, and I'm committed to finishing this project. I'm reading it, and I'm sure you can tell I have a head cold. Even if I only get one person to get something out of this, it will be totally worth it. I love you. I love the creative spirit. I love that you get the aesthetic. I love how important it is, how you feel like we all need to make the world a more beautiful place. We're here to help God interpret beauty for all those that we come in contact with. So let's be sure that we're all putting our effort into living up to God's potential in us. Keep in mind, working from a system and creating a new mental paradigm of thought gives you freedom. To succeed in your creative endeavors, you got to get it together. You got to do the self-work. You have to have a system to fall back on. It's going to save you so much time. And all this means that you have more freedom to be more creative and then be more lucrative. I believe that God made this planet to offer us abundance and to create abundance for others. The biggest reason I want to create more wealth in my life is to be able to give to my favorite charities in my church and to put my kids through college so they don't have to work through college like I did. I never want money to be a hindrance to making ourselves better or becoming a better world. What I learned in my first 20 years and building 3 businesses in the creative industries, I want to be that mentor for you. I want to make that journey easier, safer, and shorter through the hard times. I've had great luck with mentors in my life, in person and online, and I've hired a few coaches down the line. I can only say how much it's helped me skip the stupid mistakes. The lesson is to do more business smarter, not harder. Learn from those who've done what you want to do. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Act as if things are already happening for you. Write your goals. Do that 30 days. Read and learn online. Build your skills. So if you're really ready to get to work and bypass the first 5 years of struggle it takes to get a business viable and for you to be able to support you and your family, take the next step. I've poured my heart and soul into this project, into Creatively Succeed by Design School. I want you to be able to grow and prosper from it. This coming month, I'm offering a huge discount for school, but you need to RSVP. You need to click the link below and get your name on that list. We launch the following month. Remember what your grandmama always said. You only get out of things what you put into them. You are going to gain the confidence, the knowledge, and systems to get the most qualified clients who are going to pay a premium fee for your talent, your services, and your professionalism. I hope you gained some insight on how to work towards a great mindset and get a couple of ideas out of this little ditty. This is only scraping the surface of what I do in Creatively Succeed by Design School. It's really going to be amazing. I truly hope you decide to join us. And if not, check out our blog and our website. Sign up for the blog in the Follow Me button and you'll get instant updates. And then check out our website at Mangrove Bay Design and see what we're up to. I'm thrilled that you went this far, and I hope you get on our list, and we'll talk to you soon. I'm looking forward to getting to knowing you better.